Hello, beautiful Capricorns. These are going to be your messages for the next little while. So even though I am putting this out for the month of November, do keep in mind that these energies will go a little bit longer than November. So you may resonate with it, not at the beginning of the month, but perhaps at the end of the month and even next month, because the energies are fluid. All right, where do I start here? I'm almost overwhelmed with all the information that I'm receiving because I literally don't know where to start. And I have so many things I want to say, and I feel like they're in compartments. So let's see how this goes. My aim is always to give you something to think about so that you can perceive things differently and then choose accordingly. Do not believe a word I say until it resonates with you. And sometimes in order for something to resonate with you, you have to put it in the context of your own life, put the principle that comes through the messages and observe it from an observer's point of view. The reason why I'm saying this is because November and part of December, but in particular, I'm seeing the number 11. There is an opportunity to make some fundamental difference in your life. And another way I want to say it is it's an opportunity to build a new ground on something. Can I be more specific? New ground meaning new foundation, whether it is foundation in a physical level or foundation in a mental and emotional level. There seems to be a shift that you are perceiving or will be perceiving in terms of the way you understand things and the way you feel about things. You are in the process of a cleanse. So the symbol for cleanse was shown to me, which means that sometime in the next few weeks, there might be some clearing out of your life. Some of this clearing out may be things you decide to let go of, and some of it, the universe decides to take it away from you. No, I'm not saying you're going to lose a job or a partner. No, that's not what I mean. But change is inevitable. So there seems to be some changes, and change isn't necessarily a bad thing. Change can be an amazing thing. Nonetheless, it can be a little bit scary if it's very abrupt, if it's very quick. So for some of you, there is some significant change in a month of November that may come almost without warning. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. An example I could give is you're moving along in your life and you connect with somebody and they say, I have a job for you, it's your dream job. And you're like, oh, I wasn't looking for a dream job. Nonetheless, it's there for you and there's a decision to be made. I'm speaking about this and I'm feeling the idea of a healer. So for some of you, this is about healing opportunities, whether healing for you or healing for someone else. So if you think that you're a healer, which by the way you are, but if you believe that you're a healer, because you can be a healer and not believe in it, I know that. If you believe that you're a healer, perhaps this is a time where you step out of your comfort zone and let go of the resistance to try something new. This could be equally applied to trying something different in terms of how you do things in your life. Because there's a lot of change, I feel like there's a lot of energy of change. It's like things are swirling very fast. And it's almost like a little tornado. When it comes in, it creates a bit of a mess. And sometimes it can create some things we don't like. But then once the dust settles, then everything kind of becomes clearer and comes back not to the same way, but oftentimes it comes back in better ways, more stronger. So this is what I'm hearing. I'm also hearing the word fallout. You might have a fallout with somebody, and what the fallout will create a separation, whether it's friends, lovers, work, but whatever that separation is, it's necessary for you and the other person, if it's a person, or for a situation, if it's a situation. This is also a time of a lot of contemplation. And I feel this because I feel very conflicted. I feel, when I'm you, I feel very conflicted about something, almost as if I'm asking myself, I don't know what to do in this situation. If you are faced with something unfamiliar in the next few weeks, again, it doesn't have to be bad. It could be wonderful. And it's something that you haven't dealt with before. Imagine yourself from the point of view of observation. I mean, you observe you with this particular situation, and notice if anything comes up in terms of how you could approach it. There is an opportunity here for some of you to, I almost want to say, make like a groundbreaking something, like you're going to break through something. Whether it is you break through your ego, you break through a fear, you break through a resistance, you break through whatever that is that's been holding you back. It's a really, really good time to let go of some of the old things that you are carrying. Mostly beliefs, could be relationships, things that don't serve you, people that don't serve you. You get the picture. I also saw the idea of crossroads, which, cleanse and crossroads kind of come at this, I would say they're very similar. Crossroads, of course, represents being at a place where you need to choose, where your priorities about life's deeper meaning are not coinciding with where you currently are. In other words, let me see if I can say it differently. Some of you may be holding yourself back from the thing that has a deeper meaning for you. It feels very much healing related or purposely related. So for some of you, your purpose is to, for example, be a healer. You can be a healer being a therapist. You can be a healer being a doctor. You can be a healer being a shaman. You can be a healer being a counselor. I mean, healer isn't always just with energy. It's everything is energy, but healer doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do Reiki. So if you have been teetering on that, if you've been thinking about that, then it's a pretty good indication that you're ready to expand on that. If this is something that you've been contemplating on and you're wondering if I could make this a job, if you could make this a job, what you would want to do first is you want to make sure that you're at a comfort level where you are not resisting bringing money in. So if you are not confident and you want to start a healing practice, then your lack of confidence in your healing abilities will slow down or even block, certainly diminish the flow of abundance to you. Therefore, rather than jumping in that situation, which is a tricky one, oftentimes the best possibility is to do what you currently do, providing you do have a job, for those of you who this applies, and then take up some training on the side and learn about the thing that you want to learn. Whether you treat it as a hobby and then it comes out being you be of service to people where you get compensated, or it's just something that you need in your life because your job and other things are not giving you that thing that has this deep meaning for you. For some of you, I see crystals. So this is, some of you may be drawn to crystals. If you are drawn to crystals, it means that the crystal energy is pulling at you. It's communicating with you. So if you're drawn to crystals, it's because it's like they're trying to get your attention. When that happens, there's a pretty good indication that there's something there for you to explore. So that's for those of you who are healers. Let me just see, is there anything else that I want to go with here? No. Okay, so what's the overall energy for the next few weeks? Energetic movement is what came up. I am not going with the meanings of the cards. I'm going to go strictly with intuition and what I feel. So the moment I saw this card, I was drawn to the color red, which tells me whatever the movement is in your life, it's going to kick up some of your safety and security fears. Not because something bad is happening, I need to say that, but because the old way of doing things doesn't work, and new way of doing things means you have to trust. And while you build trust, you might find yourself in a situation where you're not sure what's going to happen. What I do want to say is that whatever this movement is for you, whatever this change is for you, it is you realizing that life is worth more than what you are obsessing about. Now that's an interesting statement. I could apply it to so many things. But if you, simple example, if you are focusing on not getting hurt all the time, then your entire focus goes on you not getting hurt, which means you're not going to put your focus on anything else, including the good things in your life. Your focus is going to be put on the things that you're trying to avoid, or you're trying to keep safe. Internal safety, okay. Safety is almost like a button that gets pushed when a certain situation comes into our lives. Notice over the next few weeks if such buttons are being pushed with you. And notice what these buttons represent for you. Those are emotional triggers. Whatever the emotional trigger is, when it comes up to the surface, there's a pretty good indication that there is an opportunity for that to be cleared. But in order for that to be cleared, that first have to be acknowledged, accepted, and then oftentimes understood. Sometimes we have to accept things we can't understand because our logical mind is absolutely severely limited in various ways, starting with the fact that we're human beings. I almost lost it. Be patient with yourself. This is a process that takes a lot of courage. It is a process of you shifting who you are, and that is not a small thing. I suspect for most of you, this is going to revolve around the way you think about certain situations. So if a certain thing has been a trigger of yours most of your life, that trigger may be triggered in the next few weeks. When it does, it's not necessarily because something bad is happening, but because that trigger is coming up in order to be released, and the situation you are experiencing is triggering that trigger. When you run away from your problems, you often don't know where you end up, and that's because you have no destination. That's interesting. So what's important here is to clarify within yourself what your destination is, what your aim is. So if we're talking about a particular situation that you're struggling with, and you're just trying to deal with the problem, whatever the problem is, and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're trying to run away from a problem, or you're trying to fix it, or you're trying to whatever, it's really important to give yourself the time for observation so that you can understand yourself better in terms of what's going on. You're like a mystery. You're a mystery. You're a mystery mostly to yourself, never mind to other people. And mysteries are interesting because we want to solve them. I mean, what's the point of mystery if we can't solve it? So if you think of yourself as mystery, and mystery that wants to be solved, then you become your own investigator. And when you become your investigator, you become an observer. Because if you were to go and investigate, you wouldn't throw yourself in a situation. You would observe the situation from the outside so you can assess the situation and look for clues, right? I love how this analogy is coming out. It's absolutely freaking brilliant as far as I'm concerned. So anything that happens over the next, I'm not going to say happens, anything that transpires over the next few weeks that has you riled up a little bit. Again, this could be you being offered something amazing, but it kind of scares you because it triggers something within you. When that happens, begin to be the investigator. What is that thing that is being triggered and why? It's a really, really important to understand it. The purpose for that is because many of you are ready, absolutely freaking ready to break old patterns. Overanalyzing, overthinking, getting stuck in your head, all those things that keeps us anxious and wired. All those things are usually based on fear. Sometimes founded, mostly times unfounded. So the point I'm trying to make is, don't waste this time. In other words, use whatever situation you find yourself in as a way of learning how to get out of it in a different way. And I keep stressing it's nothing bad necessarily, because it's not, but it's just, some of you may hear that, but I don't see anything bad. What I see is an obstacle, and you need to overcome it. And you can either climb through it or you can walk around it. Either way, you're going to find yourself on the other side. But how you experience the process is different. And as a result of that, you'll gain different information. You'll gain different experience. So if you've always done something the same old way, doing something new the same old way is not going to produce anything new. It's going to produce what is known to you, which is your past. Because your future is not known to you, not entirely. Your past is, because you lived it. So you have experienced it. You have first-hand experience with it. It's gone through you. Surrender is another message. Notice the red. There is some situation that you have to surrender to, which means you have to stop fighting. Whether you are fighting with yourself, whether you are fighting with a roommate, whether you are fighting with your spouse, your family, your kids, your friends, whatever it is. And what I do want to say here also is, not for everyone, but for some of you, if there is this fight, you got to check your ego. Why are you in this fight? Why are you in this situation? Why are you in this resistance? The surrender to me says, let go of the fear of not being enough. Let go of the fear of not being enough. Let go of the fear of not being enough. So perhaps what transpires in November is going to trigger this trigger called I am not good enough, which is not inherently new to you, which is what most people feel at certain points in their lives to some extent, because we all share same feelings and emotions. But it's time for you to let go of that, because as I've said this before, and I'm going to say it until the day I die, not only you are enough now, you always have and you always will be. There is absolutely nothing missing other than what you tell yourself. There needs to be a lot of focus put into that. There needs to be a thought process around this idea of I am already enough. Because when you fundamentally feel enough, and I'm being triggered in my throat, so for some of you, this is hard to swallow. It's absolutely hard to swallow. It's like, right there. You can't eat it. That's a pretty good indication, to me anyway, that there is some worthiness or value issues somewhere in the background. I see these things in layers, so to me, it's like a mystery. I freaking love it. Most people are not used to thinking that way. So for me to introduce this to you is my way of saying, here, this is how you may want to look at things in order to arrive at a different result later. All right? Change is inevitable. We change every single day, all the time. We don't think about it, but we change. You look at yourself 10 years ago, a year ago, you've changed. It would have been no possible for you to change, even if it's on a minute level, because nothing stands still. Therefore, if nothing stands still and change is inevitable, and you are holding on to I'm not enough, then naturally it means, it supposes it's going to change. But if it's not changing, how are you resisting that change? Practice makes perfect, is what I heard. Some of you have a lot of this going on in your head. Your mind is chattering all the time. Some of you actually hear this on the left ear. And the first message I got was, it's your ego, it's your mind. But the next message I got is, it's some sort of a spirit. So some of you, two messages. One is you're very much stuck in your head. Other one is you have this feeling that something or someone is talking to you, but perhaps you're not listening. Okay? Perhaps you're not listening to that because your ego is too strong and your ego doesn't want to give up. Your ego wants to be right because that's what validates it. Okay? It's one of the things that validates it. But sometimes we are faced with a situation where we are either right or we are happy. And sometimes it can't be both. Because if you're trying to win an argument, and the idea is I win because I am right, then you're restricting yourself from a whole bunch of possibilities. Judgment card to me indicates conclusion. I think most of you know that. It's coming through a cycle. And this coming through a cycle can feel very, very freeing. You can tell the way these women are jumping through it. It's probably not the easiest task, but it is being overseen. So there is a higher authority, if you will, that's looking after you while you go through this situation or transition. And we're all in transitions. These energies lately have been so amplified, it's not even funny. So there's a lack of ease implied with it, which means it's not necessarily easy to walk through this end of a cycle. But the analogy I want to give is the 10 pounds or the 5 pounds are the hardest to lose. The last mile is the hardest to run. That kind of an idea. Your job is to make sure that you push through it. Temperance, this is where you are heading. You are moving towards a greater sense of stability within yourself, where you are emotionally much more balanced and much more strong and secure in terms of what you believe and who you are. But this is not the kind of security that is very ego-based, says, look at me, I'm strong. No, it's that quiet, solid knowing that everything, you are good. You are good. And you don't have to advertise it. You don't have to prove it. You don't need people to validate it because you own it. You own it. And the moment you're in a possession of something, you can share it. So this is telling me that greater sense of balance is going to help your relationships. Of course, because obviously everything changes, everything shifts. Medicine wheel. Interesting, this card came up and I thought, geez. So again, circle, another circle, representing end of a cycle. And this message in reverse basically says, you have all the tools, you already know. Stop resisting what you know. Stop resisting what you know is to be true. And when we resist, it's because we're holding on to our past. Perhaps some of you are holding on to your past because you need to be right. Perhaps some of you are holding into your past because you're afraid that if you let go of your past, you're not sure what you're going to be or who you're going to be or how people are going to react to you or what. Well, you decide who you want to be. You choose who you want to be and people will react to you accordingly. A lot of this is about you taking your own power. And I feel that you have been, let's speak of power. You have the staff. And that's a very interesting card because this card denotes authority. But when it's in reverse, it tells me that some of you are using authority unwisely. So I'm sure that's not most of you. Maybe there's a handful of you. And I don't necessarily mean anything devious. What I mean is, for example, control. Being controlling or having too much control is you yielding your power, but not necessarily in ways that benefit you. Now, part of me says, well, if it wouldn't benefit you, why would you do it? And then I'm coming back with the answer, exactly. Why do you do it? So that tells me that if you're controlling, that you've been controlling and you're still feeling not in control, then you being controlling is not helping you be in control. So give up being controlling. How do you give up being controlling? By understanding why you control in the first place. What is it that you're trying to control? What chaos are you trying to get away from or make sure that it doesn't happen or doesn't repeat? Because if that's the case, you are stuck in the past. You're looking in the rear of your window. You're not looking into the future. And guess what? Wherever you put your focus, that's where the energy goes. And where the energy goes, it grows more of the same. Remember that. Some of you may feel something around your jaws and ears right now. I have this energy coming up. So some of you may hear what I just said and get triggered a little bit. If there is a trigger and you want to say, oh, Joanna, you're stupid. It just tells me something got triggered. So rather than go, bah, ask yourself, what is being triggered? Is this true for me? And if it's not true for me, why am I reacting to it? Okay? At the end of the day, you're moving on. Your thoughts, your thought process, how you do things, according to what rules, you're moving on through that. Or you're moving on away from that. This also implies, notice the red again, there's a lot of safety and security here, a lot of root chakra stuff. So I would I would encourage those of you who feel like it to do some chakra clearing exercises or grounding exercises, particularly chakra 1 and 2. Particularly chakra 1 and 2. That's all safety, stability, and trust. It's also creativity. So if those aspects of you are not in balance, you will find creativity being blocked. Or you will not be as flowy with your creativity. You'll block yourself. That's because that's what we do in order to stay safe. So some of you are leaving from a situation. There's no question. Some of you are moving across water. That's not going to be for all of you. It's going to be for some of you. Time has come when you need to let the past go. And every individual obviously has a past. Each and every individual holds on to their past. And holding on to past isn't necessarily a bad thing, because when you hold on to good things happen. It's when we hold on to the not so good things or things that don't feel good, that's when we get into trouble. Always remember this. The problem is within yourself, not somewhere else. Something or somewhere else, it's causing a conflict, but the conflict is in you. It's not in a situation. I don't think I've ever explained this before that way. It's kind of interesting how it's coming out. I absolutely freaking love this energy. Absolutely love this energy, because I feel like I'm in a room and I'm sweeping the floor and I'm getting rid of junk and dust and crap I've stored for 10 years because I wanted to be a hermit, and it is absolutely decluttering. It's spring cleaning in the winter, let's call it that. And that's because you are ready for change. You're ready for something new. Life is inviting you to experience something different. But in order for you to experience something different, you have to let go of the past, or at least how the past has power over you. So if you're holding on to bitterness or anger, that has power over you. You're not in power. That has power over you. Take your power back. Understand what was there in the past. Look at it from a different perspective, draw wisdom from it, and move on. You're also a healer, which means you have the ability to heal yourself. Does that mean you're going to give yourself surgeries? No. But you have abilities to heal yourself energetically. And in order to do that, it requires one to have focus. So if you want to heal yourself, focus on what it is that you actually are trying to heal. Not to get rid of, because you can't get rid of something until you solve it, because it'll come back to you. But how you can heal it, how you can observe it, analyze it, and be the investigator. Phenomenal energy. Absolutely love it. Dolphin, one last thing. Well, two more. This is a healing card. This tells me many of you are healers, which the unfortunate part is that majority of healers that I have come across with, don't think of themselves very much. Don't think their value is quite high. They may not consciously know that, because there's the beauty of the subconscious mind. But this is what it often denotes. Everyone is a healer. Every single human being is a healer, because every single human is made of energy. And you use energy every single moment you breathe. When you are looking for a destination to go to next Saturday, you are choosing the appropriate steps to get to whatever your destination is. In other words, you have a plan. Plan is important. It keeps you focused. You would never go on a trip with a map and no destination, because you would kind of be all over the place. If you have destination, the map is very helpful. If you have no destination, the map isn't as helpful. Be your own investigator. Aside from the fact that you're clearing old stuff and that you're a healer, most likely than not, your ability to connect with the other side or the other worlds or the other dimensions is being amplified. Whoever you are being helped through this process. If you're a healer, there are forces around you that are helping you resist it less. Okay, so maybe you're letting go of the resistance. Maybe you're getting go of the resistance that you are a healer, or maybe you're letting go of the resistance to own that you're a healer. Like I said, everyone is a healer, not everybody owns it. If you can't own it, you can't share it, right? Very important. All right, dolls, I think that's all I have for you. I hope this was helpful. I absolutely loved this. Let me know how that plays out in your life whenever you hear it, or a little bit later in the comments down below. Take care of yourself. Always remember, you are always in charge. Does not mean that life happens to you the way you want it all the time, but how you respond to life, that is your choice. Generally, we don't respond to life. Generally, we react to life. If you react to life, you are reacting to a trigger. As long as you have a trigger, you will be reactionary. So you have to understand what the trigger is. First, accept it's there, because you cannot change something you will not accept. It's very hard because you're resisting it all the time. But the moment you understand it, it's easier to let it go. It's absolutely, and you guys are ready. You're ready, you're ready, you're ready. Yay! Excellent. All right. If you would like a private session with me, of course, that information is down below. Vimeo videos are also linked below. Listen, I wish you best of luck. I look forward to seeing you soon, and do take care. Bye.